sir.
Oh yeah, it's not the first time I'm having you guys on the radio show. There's a huge love affair between Quebec and you guys, and of course the radio show and you. Last time we met, I think, was at Envolé Macadam almost 10 years ago in 2014 with Sublime with
Okay.
Rome. So it's been a while. So there's a lot to talk about. But for people that don't recognize the beautiful face and those beautiful hair, who the hell are you, man?
Uh, Hi, my name is JR, and I play saxophone in Less Than Jake. Nice to meet everyone.
You are
I'm
welcome
not
to the
meeting.
show.
I'm not meeting anybody. I'm just talking to you. So I guess not
I'm
the proper.
curious. Let's get back to when you were a kid before talking about the new EP and the new songs.
Sure.
I'm curious, how did you start discovering music? And were there people around you, family, friends that influenced you into that journey quest?
Um. Okay. It's kind of a complicated answer, but I my discovery of music when I was young was basically through television, right? Because it was kind of the newest media form for people at the time. We didn't really have a radio in our house, but we had a television. So I was old enough to really start paying attention when MTV became a thing. So like, I was pretty attracted to that because my parents, luckily enough, my father, he was kind of young at the time and he liked all the technology. So we had cable television, very young. A lot of people didn't have that. And so I found music through that. And my other huge music influence actually was The Muppet Show because it was a show that I enjoyed. It was on prime time. It was on like 7 p.m. on Saturday. I think Sundays it was on. It's like 7 o'clock. But they always had a musical act that was on it, and there was a lot of music involved. And Sesame Street when I was a kid. So a lot of the music from that, from the 70s Muppet Show and Sesame Street era was a huge influence on me musically as a kid. And then like I don't know, man. I grew up in the suburbs of Connecticut, so you just listen. It was whatever was on the radio or whatever your friends told you to listen to. That's how you found out about music at that time, in the '80s and early '90s. And then, yeah, I know. Started playing a ska band. Didn't know what ska was. Probably '92, and still playing in a ska band 33 years later. Yeah, it's all right.
And that's impressive when you think
It
about it.
does.
Time fly like that. But I relate to that. I grew up here in Quebec. It was Music Plus, which
Hmm.
was kind of the little kid of Much Music, which was the little kid of MTV. So I grew up watching video, and I was like so addicted to that. It was nonstop at the background. I was watching and listening to it, doing other stuff. But I grew up and I think that doing that and with the Muppet Show, it's different band. So you kind of keep yourself open to other style of music,
Right. I agree.
which which I think it's an element that you bring when you join Less Than Jake, because it's there's kind of two period at that time, the first branch of Less Than Jake, and then you join and then got bigger. But I think that being open minded is the key of the success of the band. I think.
Um, I think it was I joined Less Than Jake at an interesting time for the band. It was a crossroads kind of because they were leaving Capitol Records and signed to Fat Records. And we were at that interim record borders and boundaries between signing to Warner Brothers, which was going back to a major, so it was an interesting time. It was a really prolific time because a lot of the guy, Roger and Chris at the time were really kind of writing a bunch of music, and Vinny had a lot of lyrics, and Buddy and I were just kind of like along for the ride, but I was new to the band, but I was allowed to have input on stuff because I'd been in a band prior and they knew that I had a formal like music education. So they um I don't know if that helped or hurt me at times, you know, like kind of knowing what they were being able to identify what they were doing. Like I could read their playbook, right? Like, and I think that they had never had anybody in the band at that point that could, that knew what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like musically speaking, I was like, oh, you're doing this to this to this. That makes sense. It's cool. What do you add this tonality over this? And so it was just kind of like, organizing thoughts for those guys, you know, that maybe they hadn't or maybe they hadn't thought about a certain organization of musical thoughts, but you know, also not letting it affect what had made them so identifiable. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't my job to join the band and like make them more successful. They were already successful. It was my job to join the band and to make it stronger, better, faster, you know, $6 million man type shit, you know?
Yeah, which when you get old, you're like, why we play so fast?
Yeah, you know what? I had a talk with Joe Soroyce. He's the drummer from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones. And he said to me, he's like, God damn it. If I knew when I was 20 something that I'd still be playing this shit when I was 50 something, I would fucking write easier like parts. These things would be so crazy. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, when you start it up, it's pretty difficult. I think
Yeah.
when you start an instrument, there are always the first and 2 years where you struggle a little bit to, you listen to those people playing and like, I don't play like that. It's a long process, but when you get through it, you just get better. But with time, you get older and it's get harder. So it's never get easier with time.
Oh, yeah, no, nothing gets easier with time. Time goes undefeated. But um so but that, you know, like long story short, like I'm just a cog in the machine, dude. I didn't do anything to make the band anything more than they were or could have been. You know, I'm just along a part of a gear in the machine that's along for the ride, you know, and I'm happy to be along for it.
It's crazy because I think when you joined, it was the time around Anthem, and that records it has a special place in my heart. It's a really, really special records. I mean, the songs are amazing, but there's a lot of emotion involved. And like you said, there was a huge change in the band. So when you go to big label to Fat Wreck, it kind of you getting to understand that after all, it's all about the music and not yourself or the ego or everything. And I think that you keep that touch with creating, and I think it was a really, really cool way. And after that, everything was always. I think you always challenge yourself because every record has something special with Less Than Jake. There's always a heart, and when you listen to it, there's kind of ambience and there's something special. And I think the new EP is again a proof of that. And it's hard to keep yourself relevant after all those years and all those songs. Like, okay, how can we not repeat ourselves and do something different, but still be ourselves? But I think the challenge is successfully, um, you fucking did it.
I guess I don't know, man. Like I just I don't know. I personally I don't like to retread, and I think like a bunch of us are like that when it comes to music. Like even if a song like tracks, you know, there's the Kinks, right? They wrote I want to tell your name, dun 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 dun, right? And then they wrote a song exactly like it. That there was the second single, you know, and it's like, well, we just already wrote this song, so let's just write another version that's just like it, and it should be a hit, and it was, you know. But that you don't want to just be that, and the Kinks are a weird example because they also write songs that sound nothing like that song. You know what I mean? Like if you get into like songs like Strangers and you get like Lola and like Come Dancing, right? That's nothing like that. You know what I mean? But
So true.
it's having the forethought, I guess, or just I don't know, it's not forethought. It's just having the approach that I want to do new things. Let's try new things. And if you're going to experiment, like you should experiment in the artistic field on the in the songwriting in the whatever, because chasing safety is boring after a while. So, you should try to do different things and things that are out of your comfort zone. I've always said that when we're playing something and we feel uncomfortable while we're playing it, that it's probably something that we should um, venture on after. You know what I mean? Like, we've been around for long enough now that we can kind of do musically just whatever we want, within reason, obviously. Like, I don't think we're going to run out and start an EDM side project. Maybe, it's crazier things have happened. Um, but, we're still five pretty creative guys that butt heads and want the best from what we do, so it's nice to be around that sort of energy. It keeps it fresh and not stagnant at any time, so. And I could see that, like, I understand why a lot of like legacy acts like ourselves feel like writing new music is like a waste of time sometimes, because it's not like our new music is really pushing boundaries forward for us, you know what I mean, like on a career level, but it's new music that's out there for the world. And you never know when somebody gets into your band, you know what I mean? And there's some first listener to Less Than Jake whose first songs that they ever heard were Uncharted. And that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, so that's really why we keep doing it. It's to keep challenging ourselves. And it's to keep, I guess, challenging our listeners to see if how long they want to stay on this ride for us with, or maybe they just want to jump on and off. Like, music is a passenger sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we always hold on to the things that we love the most, like your favorite artists or whatever. But mostly we're all just passengers. Like, and we're on the train until the next train comes by that we hear that the whistle draws us in, and like the siren, and go jump on that train. And you know it's cool to train spot, right?
It's
So
kind of beautiful that after like more than 20 years, the fun is still there. And you
yeah.
know, it's a roller coaster. There's time that there's more people, there's time there's more money, there's time it's more easy, there's time it's more harder. But at the end, when you look at it, you're right. It's getting out of that comfortable zone and doing more than the 9 to 5 working. It's creating and make people. I'm sure you heard that a lot. A lot of people saying, "Oh man, when I heard that songs," or when you play that song, it bring me to a special place because of that. Of it changed my life. It's changed my view of the world. So you're right, and I think that it's important to still create because you never know who you're gonna reach. Maybe it's a kid right now that listened to the new EP and gonna start a ska band, and in a couple of years that band's gonna change the world. You never know, and I think that that's the wheel. It's a puzzle, and everybody has their place in that puzzle. And I think that music is a fucking living thing.
Yeah, well, it constantly grows. Just because you put something on a record, it's that's just like a oral photograph of where you are at that point, because that song music continues to grow. It's like a painting, it can hang on the wall, but as soon as you take a brush to it, that alters the vision of it all. You know what I mean? Like, it's easily altered, and I don't know. I think that's the beauty of art in general, is its fluidness. It's nothing lasts forever, I guess. So that's why you got to keep creating new and more, because like I said, that's really, for me, that's the fun part that's still left in the battle of being in music, or trying to succeed long term in an industry that's constantly about refresh and renew and new. And you know you have to keep yourself feeling that way too. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just, you don't want to get stuck in the ruts, man. That's kind of not what is that's not what propels things forward. If you feel like you're stuck, it's okay to just take a break too. It's okay to take 7 years and not put a record out. You know what I mean? You don't have to keep putting a record out. you know. And that's what I keep
Are we
telling.
talking about Streetlight Manifesto?
No, I don't. You know,
And
it's
that's
everybody.
cool. That's the thing.
Everybody
You
runs
have
their yeah.
there's
Everybody runs their business and runs their band the way that they feel is right for them. And like, yeah, I don't. We went 7 years without putting a record out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it happens. Like, and 7 years can go by in a flash. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah.
I used to got it. You know, you're younger and you take that shit for granted. But you know, I guess youth is wasted on the young because as you get older, you start realizing like, fuck, that's limited time, you know, and I don't know it does this go away at some point, you know? Like these are all like the hypotheticals that I live with on a daily basis and why I guess I get up early and I work so late, you know, because it's not work, it's just something that I've always done and I love and you
You
know,
live,
gonna
and you're right. When
try to
I'm
keep loving.
43. When you arrive at your 40s, you're like it's the middle crisis, like they say. You realize that 40 years have been done, and it's gonna be like that for the next 40 years. So yeah, and I think it's a good thing. It's really positive. Like do everything you want and live your dream. I know it's crazy and it's so cliche, but
Yeah,
like
you take a shot. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing is like some people don't even take a shot, you know. At least I've always said like I'm not afraid to gamble on the five of us because it's a safe bet. You know what I mean? Like take a we're gonna take a risk musically or on a fucking t-shirt design or I don't know something we sell or whatever. You know what the tour, the bands we take out. We're gonna take calculated risks, and I'm cool betting that. I'm cooler betting that than on a roulette table or a blackjack table or something. You know what I mean? Safer bet to me. You know.
and
So
I have like when you say that, I have that crazy idea you did when you released the B side is for B sides, and you release it with a T-shirt.
yeah,
I remember that it was so fucking dry. I was like, oh god damn it, they can do that. When you put in
yeah,
the wash machine, it's everything. It's a fucking shirt. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure it was not a safe bet because after all, it's a T-shirt and a CD for a cheap price.
Yeah, and they don't know how that's going to sell, and you don't know like how your fans are going to react to it. And it's a B-sides record. It's not like a proper release, and you know, it's a lot of what ifs. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's I guess the fun and the challenge of doing this. You know, so the harder you can make it for yourself, you know, oftentimes the more rewarding it is if it pays off. You know,
Yeah,
so
it's true. Like you have to sacrifice a lot if you want to win a lot. The scene have changed a lot with times. Of course, we lost one of the biggest, well, I think the most influential band of our generation, which was NoFX. But with the radio show, I see tons of kids taking over the world. I mean, the Chats, Emil and the Sniffers, and the Bad Nerves, and there's so many great bands. What's your point of view? How you see that? And you know, yeah,
how do I see it? I don't know. I don't. You know, it's funny. I talked to Mike last night actually, and I hadn't talked to him since the final show. Right, that was the last time I saw him and spoke to him, and then we'd been meaning to catch up, and I got him, and we like chatted for like an hour and plus, and like that's odd for Mike because usually like it's like a 10-minute kind of thing. He's always in the middle of something, but now he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have that much to do, you know. And I was like, "Are you happy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the happiest I've ever been." And I'm like, "That's fucking great," you know. And there's never going to be another NoFX show, you know, that I can pretty much guarantee. But you know, they left a huge gaping hole in punk rock that can and will never be filled. Like, there's nobody that's going to like just come swoop out of nowhere like some new band or old band for that matter that's going to come in and be going to fill that hole that no effects um created. I mean, think of not just the band themselves and their catalog, think of the bands that they gave careers to, that they gave starts to. I mean, fuck, Lagwagon, Swinging Utters, Strung Out, fucking, oh my God, Good Riddance, No Use for a Name. Like the list goes on. Like it's crazy, you know? Even up to like the Last Gang and the Co-Defendants and these last group, the Flatliners, you know what I mean? Like bands that fucking propaganda, you know? Like
Yeah.
bands that like really like are so influential and like created a whole fucking generation and then another generation and then another generation of bands. And you'll never fill that hole, you know, and nor should anybody try to do that, you know, but um what I will say is there will be some kid in a garage somewhere that's writing music that's gonna change somebody's life, you know, and like all that really matters is it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter when it happens, as long as the spirit stays the same and as long as the ethos sort of stays in the same vein, you know, I don't know what the music's going to sound like. I don't know, you know, what they're going to be talking about, you know, you can't look into the future, but um I think it's kind of an exciting time, you know, the it's kind of like see what's next, you know what I mean? And like Mike did it right, man. He dictated his they dictated their own exit. Like how fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like they're like, this is how we're gonna end, and fuck you guys.
I
Great.
never saw that amount of people crying. Like when we were in
Oh yeah,
Montreal the last day, like at the end, it was crazy. It was surreal. Like they played a decline. And when the trumpet, when LFA started playing, like
yeah.
that riff, that classic, and everybody started to cry. And I never
I
saw like people in their arms. It was like I
I
felt
told
that the party was done, but at the end, when you wake up the next day, you're right. All those bands are still there. It's
yeah
just that, and they are still there. NoFX gonna be forever there. Through
yeah
music, you live forever.
the music doesn't go away. Like you can always pull out the record. I did today. I was listening to some NoFX, you know. But you know, it's I said those guys in the last weekend of shows we were there for the last two nights, and I did, you know, get to see each one of them individually for just for a minute, you know, but I gave each one of them a hug and I said to him, man, this is the best funeral I've ever been to, you know, because everybody was just like fucking bawling. Like, I'm like, these guys aren't dead. Like, yeah, the shows are gone. And, you know, they're like, you know, it's a really important band for me personally. You know what I mean? Not just on like a music level, but like as people, like, you know. But that, like I said, I just talked to Mike yesterday. He's not dead. You know what I mean? Like the fucking, they don't go away. I text Smelly and fucking send him a picture of my ass. You know what I mean? Like that's friendship. You know what I mean? It doesn't go away. You know what I mean? Just because we don't see each other as often. It's just they've moved on from that part of their life. You know, which was a good portion of their life. You know, and we were lucky to have them for around as long as we had them around for. You know what I mean? So. And you can always, again, go listen to the records. You'll be able to go watch those last shows. I'm sure they're going to put a video out of them somewhere. You know, that's not a
And
spoiler. You know, that's just fucking what it is. I'm sure they're going to do it, you know. So,
yeah, I know there's still an agenda, and there's a lot. I know there are new songs and everything. They mention it, but they're gonna still release new
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, it's never dead. But I'm curious, with time, is it more easy or hard to write new song and new music? Since you have the experience, it can be easy, but with time you challenge yourself, it can be like more
Yeah, it gets
harder.
subjective, right? Subject matter. I don't think like I never stop playing guitar or coming up with musical ideas or song ideas. You know, I think it's always subject matter. It's always lyrics are the hardest. It's always the fucking ask anybody, you know, any songwriter that says, "Oh, the lyrics are the easy part," you're fucking full of shit. Your lyrics must not be very good, you know, because it's the hardest thing. It's like, how do you say what you want to say concisely and, you know, melodically and lyrically and, you know, have some sort of poeticism to it without making it sound like a nursery rhyme, you know, it's a challenge, you know what I mean? So it's yeah, I don't know. that's what makes the creation of it so beautiful and so much fun and so personal, and that's why I enjoy doing it. That's why I guess we keep doing it.
The last time you came in Quebec was this summer. You went to Mont Carmel, which is
Yeah.
something like 5-10 minutes from Trois-Rivières, which is between Montreal and Quebec. How is
Yep.
it to play new place and going to small town like that when you know Quebec very well, but there's always that place, oh, we never play there. And it's because I know it's kind of more vintage than Quebec and Montreal.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name of the town that we stayed in. The festival was in Mount Carmel, and then we had to we stayed in like another small village, like kind of away from it. But
Was
it
it
was nice.
Shawinigan or something like
Yeah,
that?
Shawinigan. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It was a nice little town, and like I live in the northeast of the United States, so for me it's like a 6 hour drive. So I drive back and forth. It's nice across the border, and yeah, it's great to play those little festivals. There's a lot of little town like festivals that I've mostly only in Quebec though, because you see the city festivals, it's sort of like how they have them in Europe. Mainland Europe has a lot of city smaller festivals that you go and you can play and stuff like that. So it was cool to do that. It was a cool little spot and the people were really nice, you know. Um Hope to do more stuff like that, in Quebec specifically, So it's cool.
And what I love about those festivals that they're really, family friendly. And we're grown up, we have kids, and I love to bring the kids. They love to go to shows. So with those
Exactly.
festivals, you reach, the older one, and then the new generation, which fucking love it. They love ska.
Yeah, of course. Kids, we all have a bunch of us have kids, and the ones of us who don't have kids have nieces and nephews that are, younger, and it's all about the kids, man. You know.
It's so true. So true. It humble you and it bring you where because we all lost that. And then when you got kids, you like, how can they have that energy and that, that spike in their eyes of discovering and enjoying the moment. And then you
Yeah,
realize,
no.
yeah, I grew up. I have to more focus on living the moment, not thinking about the problem, the past, the future. And yeah, and that's so cool that you reach a new generation also by doing that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I have a nephew, my actual nephew, he's 3.5, and he's starting to kind of understand what I do, but I don't want him to really know what I do. I want to keep that. He'll figure it out someday.
Yeah, you're gonna go on YouTube.
Yeah, like he'll figure it out someday, and then he can ask all the questions he wants. But for now, I told my brother, I'm like, let him live and enjoy the experience of like learning about what life is. I'm like, cause he'll be dead inside, just like him, you and I someday, kiddo. So he laughs. So, but yeah, no, it's good to be able to pass it along to the next generation if possible. So if it's available for us to do those kind of family friendly things, we always do our best.
Yeah, because I think like kids gonna choose their path. You cannot force them to love something. Like, oh, you have to love ska. But what I
Yeah.
do with mine, like my little one just turned 4, and I've got a girl. She's 15, and what I did is I show her everything, like from Black Sabbath to Aerosmith to whatever, and like bring them to punk and ska and everything, and they choose, but they're aware of what's good and what's not, and so they're open mind, and I think that's our thing. We just have to open the door, and you fucking choose after that. That's just our job to open the door.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. You're just there to, kind of set the table for them. It's up to them to figure out how to use the fork and the knife. You know what I mean? So it's a good way to look at it. Good parenting.
Yeah, sometimes bad, sometimes good, depend.
Yeah. Hey, we're all allowed to make mistakes. It's okay.
We start to 2025. It's a brand new year. How's gonna be that year for you guys with the release of the EP? Um, yeah, are you working on new stuff? Are you ready for a tour? What's gonna happen with Leslie and Jake in
We have a lot of
2025?
things. We have a lot of things that are coming down the pipe. some announcements that are coming up soon. So people just really have to kind of follow our social medias and pay attention, and you will see some announcements of things that we are going to be doing. And there's a lot going on in 2025. Nothing that I can really divulge on January 15th right now, but I promise that, you know, sometime soon you're going to start seeing some cool things coming out of Less Than Jake Land. So,
I kind of love January and hate it because I know there's nothing in the air at the beginning, and then February, like all the release, and March, and you're like, oh my God, it kind of puts how's gonna be the years with shows and everything. So it's a cool and excitement moment. But yeah, like I'm sure it's gonna be a great year for you guys. Again, the EP is amazing. I think that we talk about that. Sometimes it's cool to take your time to release something that is accurate, and the fun thing is you play with the single and everything. That's what I love about Last and Jake. I think that from day one, you're one of the few band that understood, or I don't know, you knew that was coming, that you can do everything, like release EP, release single, release cover, whatever, and just release it. And a lot of bands were stuck in that creating a record, an album, and maybe release a single, but you went for all, and I think it paid because now those days it's you have to stay in that, like the social media is the monster you have always have to fed. So when you release a couple of single, people are like, oh man, you never stop, when did you sleep?
yeah, perception is reality, I guess, but in a big picture sense, you know, we're there's a lot going on in the world, man, and like there's different ways to approach showing your art off to people. Some people want to go with the traditional record approach. Some people want to go with, singles or EPs or whatever. We try it all, and we just kind of again, it's all about just keeping it fresh for us. You know what I mean? Like, and if we can continue to keep it fresh, then I think we are doing our job, at least for us. You know what I mean? To keep us uh, motivated.
I think we share a love for the band All, the quest for all, and I
That's
think that
always the
that's
quest for all. There's no other quest.
yeah, go for all.
Yeah.
GR, you're amazing. We invite people, of course, to buy the new EP and buy merch so we can see the band all around the world. It's tough time. It's we never know what's gonna happen with the economy. So if you can, like, go fucking buy merch, and if you can't, it's everywhere, every platform. And what's the best way to directly encourage Less Than Jake?
Yeah, you can just go to lessthanjake.com, and we have merch stores all over the planet. We try to keep shipping costs down for people, but if you can't afford a t-shirt or you can't afford to go and uh, buy a copy of our record on vinyl, just go to Spotify, go to YouTube, go to Apple Music, wherever you consume songs, and stream it. Like, we don't care. It doesn't matter wherever you get it from. Go ahead and stream our music and play it loud wherever you go, and we're stoked. That's the best support that you could give us.
But if you do it for free, go see them live and sing them fucking loud.
Yeah, that'd be great.
GR, you're amazing. Thank you for your generosity and your time. I fucking had a blast. And we're gonna do a huge special, of course, and play the whole EP.
Well, thank you very much, Eric. It's been nice chatting with you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank you. Hope to see you in 2025. And if not, let's make sure to do a part two because there's so much to talk. And yeah, thank you for your time, my friend.
No, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.
Thanks.
Pretension is what you need. No more inhibition.